Hello. Sorry for the delay there. Today I want to talk about an interesting issue that came up, or a question that came up during a call I just had actually, and it was regarding like content, and it was like, well, when is there too much content? When can a profile essentially have too much content? Are people going to read it? And that's a really valid point. And it got me kind of thinking. I mean, I knew on the spot what to answer, but it got me kind of thinking about a lot of clients that I see when they first come to me, and a lot of people that are suffering from this from the very start. And that is that absolutely, I think that a profile on LinkedIn, when constructed properly, can have way too much content that is not having any impact and is not getting any action in terms of no one is reaching out to you to ask about your businesses, to engage with your business. And when you go out and reach out to people and they look back at your profile, they're thinking, wow, this kind of sucks. And believe me, so many of your profiles suck. In particular, if you are using LinkedIn as a lead generation source and you're currently holding this kind of online resume as your profile. So, I see this a lot. A lot of people have had a really interesting career, especially this is problematic for people who are more senior. Maybe you've been working 10, 15, 20 years already, and now you've gone into your entrepreneurial journey, and you've had, maybe you've had 10 different jobs before. Well, what I see happening a lot is people craft this profile where their experience sections, they're really heavy on content. They're showing all their kind of key responsibilities that they were involved with, the projects that they worked on, some of that are well constructed, the results that they got. And they do that for experience. And, some don't have the logo because the company doesn't have its own page. And, it's crafted this resume that is full of all these details with the hope of, hey, I'm showing my credentials. Right? That's what many people are thinking. Well, I'm giving my credentials. I'm showing my credentials. And therefore, hey, Michelle, I'm showing my credentials. And that's what people want to see because people are going to buy from me when they see all my credentials. As you know, that's not the case, right? It doesn't work like that. It rarely works like that. All that happens is that people don't read. People don't read what you've written. And it's absolutely true, because what's happening is you're putting all this detail up because someone's told you, hey, put all your history. You want to show your credentials. You want to show the strength of your working life. So then people are going to trust you and stuff. They don't care. The majority of the time, they don't care. And the problem is, the more of that detail that you put up, those chunks, those paragraphs of information, the more they're ignoring it. Because you've got to think, LinkedIn is a social networking site. Are people going there to have to read a book? To read chunks of information about someone, what they did in the past? Like, really, are you that interested? I mean, unless you're a documentary buff like myself, I love watching autobiographies or biographies of people and watching the history and what they did. But hey, is the general guy who provides leads, is he that interesting for someone? They want to know where you were, who what you worked on, what you did. No, they don't. They don't want any of that. So, guys, when you are constructing your content on LinkedIn, if you have constructed it as a resume, then absolutely I believe that you can have too much content. And it's going to show up like this. People aren't going to read it because what you've done is you've put these chunks of text up there and there's nothing there for them to understand what it is about without first reading it, right? That's a huge issue. Think of the way that online publications are written today. And we'll talk about that next. But, they're not just these large chunks of text that you've got to wade through to find out what the person is about. So essentially what you're doing is you're forcing people to do something that they're getting less and less interested in doing, especially on LinkedIn, which is, reading past glory. They're just not into it. The other thing is, there tends to be no clarity, no purpose, no focus of that profile. It's not leading towards an action, right? There's no call to action on such a page. The page is just an information page. And, when you have a funnel, what you're doing is that you're guiding them through a series of steps. You're guiding them through a series of information that is building up their awareness of you. And then also building up that, hey, I have that problem. I have that problem that this person's talking about. Wow, they really know me really well. They know my industry really well. And look, there's some empathy. They're showing, they're not thinking they're empathetic, but the way you've written it and you've crafted it, it's about them. And they really feel like you know the industry, you know them, you know what their problems are. Now, when you have this resume style with these chunks of information in every company, it doesn't do that at all. It's all about you, okay? And there's no clarity. So the way that this is all can be fixed is that your page has to do that transition. It has to go from that online resume to that client-facing page. And this is when you can actually have more content. You can actually put more content about what you're doing now than before, because what you should be doing is really thinking about how are you going to structure that content. And as I said, I alluded to before, think about how online publications are. Emulate online publications. When you go into an online magazine, you're not confronted with like 6 paragraphs of content. It's bite size, it's chunk size, it's subtitles, there's fonts in there. You literally can scan the article or scan the piece of content, and the way it's written is designed so you can know where the information is, and then you can go back and read the parts that you're interested in. And that's the same way you should be thinking about your LinkedIn. Your page should be set up in a way where you are client facing, so it's no longer an online resume. Think I'm putting a landing website on LinkedIn. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting a website on LinkedIn. So that way, each of those sections is talking to a key service, talking about a key problem, talking about a transformational opportunity that's of interest to them. And then using keywords, using fonts, using that kind of structure, they're able to quickly find that information. They know where it is. Now, if they choose to read it or not, great. That's on them now. You're giving them that choice. They can easily go and find it. They don't have to go in there and look for it. Right? They can see it. And also, the subconscious mind, it likes completeness, and the mind likes things that are nice and complete and in that box. And when you have a profile that's structured like that, then people are able to find solace in that. Okay, everything's there. That's good. That looks great. It's complete. It really makes a difference when you have these kind of, and you in terms of the structure, you're using the same kind of framework in each section. You want those patterns to look the same, because what the brain's seeing on these online resume style profiles are they're half done and only 1 paragraph, and some have 2 sentences, and then some have more. The brain doesn't like that, right? The brain doesn't like that. And then also, your page should all be set up towards purpose and message, right? It's got to talk about exactly what you do, how you do it, who's it for, what they're going to get from it, what people are saying about it. That's what people want to know. That's what people want to know. And again, 80% of the profile should be about the now. All about the now, not about what you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because people don't care. They want to see what you can do for them and how you can do it. So on LinkedIn, when you construct a profile like that, I don't think you can have too much content. It's the way that it's formatted, it's the way that it's presented, it's the way that it's laid out, and deliberately in mind, you're taking people through a syntax where they're getting educated Okay, they're becoming aware of your problem, and they know by the end of looking at it that, man, this person has a solution for the problems that I suffer from. Right? That's the difference. And that way you can have, multiple sections, 6, 7, 8 sections, experience sections about your current product and service and opportunity now, and it's not going to be too much because they're going to be able to skim it. They're going to be able to choose the parts that they're reading. If they're really keen and really eager, they'll go further, they'll go deeper. And the great thing is they'll know where to look, and they'll know what to pull up and know what to actually read, as opposed to these whole chunks of text that they've got no idea. And about a job you did 10 years ago, how does it relate to their current need, concerns, problems? It doesn't. It doesn't. So there you are, guys. I don't believe you can have too much content when you've structured it as a client-facing page. If you have a resume, absolutely. I think you can bore the pants off people. And when someone's confronted with that chunk of detail that isn't clear, that isn't guiding them to be able to easily find those key nuggets, it's a huge turnoff. It's a huge turnoff. And that's something that I work with my clients. Within the first couple of weeks of coaching, we've worked on their profile. We've constructed that profile. We've tweaked that profile. The transformation occurs quickly when you're executing on it. So listen, if you're stuck, if you're on LinkedIn and your clients are there and they're in abundance and they're active and you're not getting anything off it, just reach out. Book a call. We'll find out what's working, what's not working, and where you want to go with it. And if that's something I can help you with, I'll tell you so. If I can't help you, I'll let you know that as well. Yeah, simple as that. Anyway, that's it for me. I've got stuff to do. All right, guys. See you later.